self-expression. I got something I want to say. We'll see how well I can articulate this. I have some notes because I've been writing about this today, and I want to express it. That's it. It's that simple. A little more, I guess. There's been a general theme for me lately. A lot having to do with this fear of not living up to potential, this fear of missing out on some kind of opportunity, this fear that I'm holding myself back and not pushing myself enough towards something. Analysis of that. And I was reading some today, just in exploring these feelings, these thoughts about perfectionism, right? And this whole fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Fixed mindset being that something like ability or intelligence is an inborn trait versus growth, where it's something that you expand with effort or over time. And then the whole sort of gifted kid phenomenon, gifted kid burnout. And this explanation, essentially, this is what's put forth, that all of these kids, of which I was certainly one at one point in time, who are called gifted at a young age, immediately establish a fixed mindset, and then they feel uncomfortable trying new things, anything that they're not good at immediately. And it's suggested that there is such a tremendous fear of failure, a fear of their shortcomings being revealed, that they then don't attempt more difficult things. That's what is put forth in a lot of the analysis of this. And then so there's the suggestion that this is a fixed mindset, and the way to fix that. So first of all, it is called a problem. It's essentially established as a problem because now we have these gifted kids who are adults and they're not motivated. They're not motivated to do anything. And of course, in capitalistic society, your lack of motivation to produce is seen as a problem. More about that in a minute. So the suggested solution is, well, you adapt to establish a growth mindset. You rewire your brain to understand that effort is not a bad thing. I don't disagree with that. That failure is not a bad thing. I don't disagree with that either. Absolutely. Those are great things to incorporate into mindset, into the thoughts that are running through a brain. But then it moves into this whole, I guess the thing that I take issue with is the why. Why are we introducing these new ideas that failure is not bad, that effort is not bad? It's an effort. The intention is to get you to produce. To, again, motivate you, to find a way to motivate you into achieving greatness, essentially. This idea of greatness, to fulfilling your potential. So it's this sort of statement that all these fixed mindset, gifted, burnout kids are not fulfilling their potential because they're afraid of trying, and they're afraid of trying because they're afraid of failing. That's this whole idea. Wow, I just got wickedly dizzy talking about all of this. I don't think it has anything to do with this. I've been experiencing a lot of odd sensations the past couple of days, and I didn't know that the solar flares could have anything to do with that. but now that I do, I'm just wondering how much that's correlated. I just got really, really dizzy. So I'm going to try to keep going. But that's... wow. Anyways, anxiety's been higher too. That's a whole other topic, but fixed mindset, gifted kids, perfectionism, all of this leading to not fulfilling potential. That's what all of the literature essentially says. And again, the antidote to that, because it is perceived as a problem, is to work into a growth mindset. But it's just missing the bigger picture to me. I don't disagree with overcoming a fear of failure and recognizing that failure, reframing what failure means, what failure and success means. Just trying something is a success, is succeeding. Just making an attempt. If you are interested in something, then don't let a fear of failure stop you from pursuing that thing. That's all fine and dandy. Absolutely, I agree with that. It's just... the intention behind this is not to make you a happier person. Not in the literature that I read, at least. In the... it comes back to and comes down to fixing you so that you can start producing again. So that you can... so that you're motivated into production. Lack of motivation is not a problem. The lack of motivation is a beautiful thing. We're not here to be motivated. If you are seeking motivation for something, you're trying too hard. That's where it all gets backwards for me. If you are trying to motivate yourself into something, the energy's not lined up for it. And I don't just mean the mindset. I mean the energy. I mean, if it takes motivation, if you have to trick yourself into doing something, you don't want to do that thing. And doing something that you don't want to do is never going to produce the result that you think that it is. It's not. That's not clean energy being put out into the universe. That ultimately is driven by something other than desire. Motivation is not driven by desire. Can you feel that? Can you hear that? If you have to motivate yourself, there's not a want. You're making up for the lack of want. You're making up for the lack of desire. You're trying to use something other than desire to create a push. Desire inspires creation. Fear inspires production. Motivation inspires production. And that motivation ultimately, it's never driven by a pure, clean want. If there's a pure want, if there is a want for something, if I want to do something, if I want to achieve, whatever that fucking means. If I want to start a business, if I want to write and record music, if I want to create a piece of art and have that hosted in a gallery, then that will happen. That will happen because I want it to happen and because I will take inspired action towards making that happen, towards that everything flowing that direction. If my energy is aligned, which means my desire is aligned with my focus, then I'm letting things flow that way. And there's ease. There's not actually effort there. There might be action, but action does not equal effort. It sounds strange, but it's true. When you are in a moment of inspired action, and I am sure that everyone has felt this at some point in time, most often for most people it takes place in emergency situations, because that's when we're most present and we don't actually have the whole narrative and the ego running. We're present in the moment. We stop caring about all the bullshit. We stop thinking about anything. It's just what is asked of me in this moment, and then you do it. And there's no question. There's very little thinking, little to no thinking. You act. That action takes no effort, even if that action is lifting a car, because your desire is absolutely aligned. Your desire in that moment is, I want to do what is asked of me. What can I do in this moment that is for me to do? That's it. That's all you're asking. You ask it with your emotion. There's no thought. And so then the inspired action, when it becomes obvious, someone is pinned under a car, I will find a way to move this car. There's not even really fear happening. There might be adrenaline. There's other things flowing through your body. But it's a different experience. And the action that flows through you with very little to no effort, actually. It takes place because you are the open conduit to it. Your willingness, your asking for that action to flow, lets it be inspired within you, and then you do it. And it's not hard. And that's why so many people too who are interviewed after the fact, you saved a person from a fire and drowning in a river, how did you do it? And they all go, it's no big deal, it just happened. I don't know, I just acted. There wasn't any conscious thought there. It wasn't a hard thing to do. It was the most natural thing to do. That's inspired action. That's where the most amazing creation takes place. That's where mountains are moved. So all of this motivation to get us to effort into producing things just seems like a bunch of bullshit to me. And I think it's missing the point, this discussion about individuals with a fixed mindset, perfectionism, gifted children who became adults, whatever, not having the motivation. There's no motivation because there's no desire to achieve what we're trying to be motivated to achieve. It's a deeper recognition that what we're trying to be pushed into is production. What we're trying to be tempted with is essentially the fear of, it's fear. It's still a motivation by fear. It's don't you want to fulfill your purpose? Don't you feel like you're missing out? That fear of missing out on something greater, on all this thing that you could be, that you're not achieving. You could be so great, and you're just sitting there and you won't even try because you're so afraid of failing. No, it's not a fear of failure. It's not even a fear of success necessarily. It's a recognition that I don't want to play this game. I don't care to fail or succeed in the opinion of society, because none of that has anything to do with my joy. All it is a ploy to get me to continue being a cog in this corporate capital machine. And so I don't want to participate at all. I don't want to be a success in this game. I don't care if I'm a failure in this game. You're already perceiving me as a failure for not playing. My choosing to sit out, my choosing to sit on whatever, the couch, and not be a productive member of society, my choosing to not apply myself and fulfill whatever purpose, which is not the purpose that I feel, it's the purpose that I'm being told is mine. Because to me, I'm fulfilling my purpose right now. My fulfillment of my purpose has taken place and continues to take place and cannot change, because my purpose is being. My purpose is existing. I can't fail at that, you see? So you're trying to motivate me into doing something, into producing, by saying that I'm not fulfilling my purpose. It's not motivating. No, I am not motivated by that. Because I'm already fulfilling my purpose. And any other word you could put on it, success, that's where it's again spun into, well, maybe you have a fear of success. And I'm not going to say that there's not stuff to do with havingness and letting myself have more. That's a thing to examine. But again, I don't perceive the having of more as connected to effort. Those things are separate. My allowing myself to have more has more to do with my feeling, just inherently feeling worthy, allowing myself to receive. It has absolutely nothing to do with the effort that I'm putting forth. Totally separate, totally unrelated, totally irrelevant. So my success, my receiving of abundance, my feeling satisfied with myself, my knowing my well-being, my vitality, my security, all of that has nothing to do with my outward physical production of any damn thing. So yes, I can just sit here and be worthy and be taken care of and be provided for by the universe, by myself. I can sit here and know that I am well, that I am loved, that I am fulfilling my purpose, that I am achieving greatness. I am a success. None of that has anything to do with physical production or effort. And too much of psychology, too much of society, that looks like failing. That looks like a fear of whatever, a fear of failure, so I don't try, a fear of success, so I don't try. It's a refusal to be a part of that game. It's operating within reality on a totally different plane, a different way. My experience of reality and the way that this all works is not that. So no, none of that is motivating. No, I have a total lack of motivation because I operate on inspiration. And if I am not inspired, if I am not moved, then I don't make myself move. Because that doesn't do anything for me. That might do something for ego. And I'm not going to say that's a bad thing either. I don't care. I don't care. I am not motivated by the temptation, the egoic desire to achieve greatness. Greatness as defined by ego, as defined by other egos, an ego-based society. Greatness defined by my production, by how noticed I am, by how much money I have, by reputation, all of those things, by the mark that I leave on the world. I don't care. None of that matters. None of that is relevant to my joy, my well-being, my satisfaction, my abundance, my security. Not connected. I am totally okay with not living up to my full potential as projected upon me by society. What does that even mean? Potential for what? Potential for what? Potential to be someone? To be known? To be loved universally? Potential to again, leave something behind? To be remembered by? Potential to produce large quantities of what the fuck ever? That's the potential that I am missing out on? Great, I don't care. And there's nothing wrong with following that path and doing those things. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't care to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that either. My wife showed up. So I'm a little distracted now. I lost where I was. But I still want to finish. I want to finish what I was saying. I think I said most of it, honestly. It just feels like it's all still a threat, and it's all still fear-based, and it's motivation. And motivation is not inspiration. Yes, we are creators. Yes, we're here to create. Creation and production are different things. We create nonstop. We can't stop creating. We're creating all the time. Everything that we're doing, it's all creation. But that's the thing. It takes no effort to create. It takes a lot of effort to produce. But all the things that you produce cannot ever possibly compare to the things that you can create when you just allow and you line up and you let, if there's an action to be taken, you let that action flow through you. But there's so much less action required in creation than there is production. And the results are so much bigger and better and more amazing. And you just let them happen. You don't make them happen. You let them happen. It's just totally different. It all ends up sounding like an excuse not to just feel good and satisfied with what is right now. All of this, don't you care about achieving greatness? In the eyes of society, no, I don't. Don't you care about fulfilling your potential? No, I don't. I'm doing that. I'm doing that right now. All of that just, it sounds like it's trying to get me not to feel good right now. To tie my good feeling and my satisfaction with my life experience to some external thing, to something outside of me, to something that I am producing. When it isn't. And again, that doesn't mean I can't work hard. I can't apply myself or achieve some material status. Doesn't mean I can't do those things. It just means those things are utterly irrelevant to my well-being, to my joy, to my success, to my abundance, to my satisfaction, to my fulfilling my potential. Not related. Absolutely not related. I'm already succeeding. I'm already killing it. I'm already doing exactly what I came here to do right now. I don't have to be doing anything differently to succeed, to be a success, to be successful. So whatever comes and whatever goes, great. It has nothing to do with my success. It has nothing to do with my worthiness. It has nothing to do with my well-being. It doesn't change. Those things are inherent. They're absolute. So that's it, mostly. I think I said it all. Everything that I wanted to say already. And that is just that I'm doing everything that I came here to do right now. My being is the fulfilling of my potential. My being is the achieving of great success. And I feel that the younger generations coming in, they're not motivated because they know this inherently. They're not playing this game. They're not playing this game. We can't trick them. There is no motivating them because dangling the carrot of material success doesn't tempt them. They don't give a fuck. They know their success. They know their worth inherently. They're not interested in equating productivity to the worthiness of their being. And they know as soon as they step out onto that treadmill, that's what's happening. Whether they are producing or not producing, it's being used to evaluate their worthiness. So they're not playing the game. Which of course is then automatically being evaluated as not producing, so you're failing. So it's again, what can we do to motivate you to produce, to get on the treadmill? But there isn't anything. There is nothing we can do to motivate these young people because they're not interested in doing life that way. They know, they came in knowing, they came in connected, much more connected than we've ever been to the truth of knowledge, of source of being. that they don't have to do anything to be well, to be loved, to be worthy. So they're not going to do anything to prove themselves. They're not going to play that game. It's time for things to change. It's time for things to change. So there is no problem with a lack of motivation. Lack of motivation is not a problem. It's only considered a problem if you are living life by the old standards, the old paradigms of ego, of capitalism, production. And no, this isn't a fucking, just because the word capitalism is here. Socialism, in the way that it's defined, it's set up as an opposition to capitalism. Still, if it's focused on an economy in any way, if it's focused on production, the means of production, whatever, any of that bullshit, then it's not what I'm talking about. All of that. If the focus is on the production of goods, whoever the power of that is in the hands of, I don't give a damn. It's not the way that this reality is designed to work. It's not the way that human beings are designed to work, to function. And it's not going to be the form that society takes in the very near future. That is collapsing. That will collapse. That has already collapsed. And it's not a problem. It's a problem to those who have made their fortunes and who are entirely identified with that version of existence, that version of self. It's a problem to those. So of course they're going to point the finger at anybody who is not participating in this game and say, you are a problem, you're making this all collapse. And all of this is what I have built myself upon. So of course, your refusal to play this game means that this game ends, and this game is all I've ever known. I'm really good at this game, but if nobody's playing it, then it doesn't matter. So of course, those people, those minds want the game to continue. But we're not playing anymore. And choosing to sit out is not a failure. But if it is in the eyes of ego, okay, great. Then I will happily be perceived as a failure. I will happily fail to achieve greatness and to fulfill my potential and whatever it is that society says I'm doing or not doing. Fine. Again, none of that is a motivation. None of that inspires, none of that moves me in any way. I do what feels good to me. And I trust in myself, not my physical capabilities of pushing things into place. I trust in my connection to source. I trust in my connection to the universe, to all that is. I trust in my desire. I trust that creation happens in here. And that, yes, there are times when action is called for, but in those moments, it's inspired and it's easy. It flows through me with no effort. So if I am efforting, if I find myself pushing, working hard to make something happen, if there's all this resistance that I'm having to break through, then I'm going to stop. I'm going to set that down and say, okay, not for me then. I let this pass me by because it's not aligned. This isn't the one. And I am going to hear the voice of society, of whoever, internalized, externalized, saying you're missing out, you're missing opportunities, you're failing to apply yourself. And I'm going to just shrug and say, okay. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to say you're right or wrong. Whatever you feel, whatever you believe, okay. I am so secure. I believe I know myself to be so well, to be so taken care of, so provided for, that it doesn't matter what things flow past me. I am the great blue heron. I exert a minimal amount of effort. It might be surprising to think of that as what the heron is doing, but actually it's true. That bird knows. It's not going to go after the fish that it has to work for. It knows at some point in time, not just any fish, the fish, a good-sized fish, is going to float directly in front of its face, right in its prime strike zone. It's not targeting around looking for a fish, it's looking straight ahead, and it's knowing that a fish is going to cross its path, and it knows that when that happens, it will strike, it'll catch the fish, boom, done, game over. No effort there, just presence. Just trusting, just being continuously. It's not working, it's not plotting, it's not planning, it's not trying. It knows that the universe will put that fish in front of its face so that it has the chance to just, boop, basically lean over. Minimal amount of effort required, and that action is inspired. It flows straight through it the second it sees the fish. It's done. There's really no thinking involved. There's no thinking involved. It's just trust. It's knowing. That's how it works. That's how it works. So if I don't feel, if striking this fish doesn't feel right to me, then I'm not going to do it. I am not going to take that action. I'm not going to move. I'm going to sit and I'm going to apparently wait, what looks like waiting. It's really just being with the knowledge, the awareness that the right thing, the right opportunity, the right fish for me is flowing to me. And I don't have to hunt it down. I don't have to find it. I just be knowing that it will show up in front of my face, and that when it does, I won't be able to keep myself from lunging at it. It won't be a question of motivating. I won't have to sit there and go, oh, all right, here's the fish. It's time to get myself into gear for this. No, that's not the way it happens. The energy will be so aligned and so enticing and so delicious and so perfect that I am inspired. I can't stop myself from lunging at this fish. That's inspired action. That's what that means. That's what I'm here for. To line up with that. So anything that isn't that, I will let pass me by. All these other fish, great big fat one right above my head, doesn't matter. I don't need that fish. That's not the fish for me. The fish for me is the one that I can't help but strike. And there's no motivation required. There is no motivating me. I cannot be motivated. And that's not a bad thing. I ask for, I trust, I desire inspiration, and I move with the flow of inspiration, and nothing else. That's how nature operates. That's how it works. That's it. That's it. I can't be motivated by fear. Whether I'm told that I have a fear of success or a fear of failure, the truth is when I want something, I do that thing. And all these things that I'm not doing, that society would maybe say is a problem, I'm not doing because I don't want to do them. I can recognize, I can feel the difference between a thing that I want to do and I feel some fear around it, and then I move through the fear and I do it anyway because I want to, and my desire is stronger, and I focus on my desire and I follow that over the fear. That's totally different from a thing that I just don't give a fuck about, and society saying, oh, you're afraid, you gotta motivate yourself. No, I just don't care. I just don't fucking care. And that's totally different. When I do care, when I do actually want something, genuinely, nothing stops me. Nothing can stop my desire. It is absolute. It's pure. It is unstoppable. but it's selective. Because 99% of the time, I'm just good with being as I am. I'm not desiring in any specific or strong way. When I do, I follow that and it feels great. But most of the time, my desire is just relaxed. My desire is to appreciate what is. My desire is to feel successful now. My desire is to not put off my good feeling, to experience it here and now, to not put off my abundance, to not tie it to some outside event, some future event, any event, to feel it and experience it, my abundance here and now. Nothing stops me from doing that. Absolutely nothing. Nothing needs to happen. I don't need to do anything. Nothing needs to change for me to know my own success, my worthiness, my security, my well-being. Again, production, utterly irrelevant to that. The external achievement of material whatever, gain, totally irrelevant to my experience of abundance and satisfaction. It can happen, it cannot happen. Doesn't matter either way. That's all I got. I am the heron. I stand in stillness because it pleases me, and because I know I don't need to move for everything that I desire to come to me. Everything that I desire is coming to me. And I can't miss it. And it doesn't take effort. It doesn't take work. It takes presence. It takes peace. It takes trusting. It takes feeling the way that I want to feel, feeling good. That's it. Right now, in this moment. That's where all of my work is. That's what I am inspired to work on, to put forth effort into. And it's really not. It's the effort of not efforting. It's actually allowing myself to relax, to just receive, giving myself permission. That's what I'm working on. That's where my focus is, my attention. Just being and allowing everything to flow to me. I don't chase. I attract. And if I'm attracting, then that means I'm just standing here, hanging out, knowing that the moment to strike will arrive. And when it does, I'll strike. But the rest of the time, I'm still. And that is more than perfectly okay. That is how I choose to live this life experience. That doesn't mean any other way of living is wrong or incorrect. This is just my choice. And my choice is not wrong. Society is shifting. It's gonna get angrier. It's gonna get crazier. It's gonna collapse in many ways. But it's moving this direction. And it's all good. My purpose is just to be. I cannot fail at my mission of being. I'm here to have fun. I'm here for joy. I'm here for ease. If I feel like working hard, then I get to do that too. But it doesn't really accomplish anything. It doesn't mean anything. I can play the game or not play the game. None of it is relevant or related to my success or satisfaction. It is what is. And I desire to simply feel satisfied with what is. Not put it off, not find any excuse or reason to just not feel good right now. Why would I do that? I have the power to feel good right now. I'm gonna choose that. And that means I can't be controlled. That means I can't be motivated, and that's a big bummer for most of society. Big bummer. Oh well. It's all good. Oh, that's it. That's it. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. Have a beautiful, blessed evening. Take it easy in these solar storms. Do what I am not doing, which is drink enough water. Drink lots of water. Rest. Give yourself grace, space, all the things, and trust your attraction, because you don't need to work for everything to flow to you. You're not flowing that river. The river flows. All you gotta do is stand in it and let it come. You're doing great. You're doing great. Oh, and you are so deeply loved and supported. Always and in always, through every vector of time and space. That's how it is. Take it easy.